We have here the Bianchi Oltre RC, their top line flagship bike, weighing at 16 pounds, 7 ounces, and in kilos, 7.39 kilos. Stay tuned to after video where we're free to buy and sell test on those wheels. Hey, how's it going, everyone? GC Performance here, back with another video, and today I have for you guys a very hard, rare bike to find. This is the Bianchi Oltre RC. This is the top of the line flagship bike that they actually offer. I believe I was told this is the first one in the country and is down here at City Bikes here in South Florida in Miami Beach. If you guys are looking for one of these bikes, Miguel over here, he was the one who told me they had this bike in stock. This one's sold already, but he said he has more coming in. So if you guys are looking for a Bianchi, he has them coming in, but this bike is very cool. In today's video, we're going to talk about the specs on this bike, everything it comes with, also what this bike has to offer in terms of features, like the side fenders and also the bar we'll talk about, everything like that. And also I did a video before about the Bianchi Oltre Pro. This is their top of line bike. This is the bike with their best kind of carbon on there. So this is definitely their most nicest carbon fiber bike that they have here to offer. This is the bike that you're going to see all of them riding in the Grand Tours, and this is their flagship race bike. They claim to be one of the most fastest aerodynamic bikes out there when you pair it with their own race bar, their wheels, their own frame. And this bike is, they took this design and literally made it into a Hyperbike design of a bike. From the seat that's their own, their handlebar, everything like that, the wheels and systems. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous bike. So this is like their top tier carbon. This bike with the Dura-Ace Di2 on here, with the wheels as you guys see it, I believe that he says 13.9. And then like I said, this one's sold, so the customer added a OSPW to it, and then also a ceramic seat bottom bracket as well. But yes, so before we do anything, let's go ahead and jump into the video. So, about the Bianchi Oltre RC. This is their newest race bike. This is the bike they say is going to be the most aerodynamic bike that they actually offer, and it's called like a Hyperbike. A couple bit of controversy when this bike first released. The thing that they noticed on this bike the most was these kind of fender flares on here. They designed this bike to have these kind of fender ports on here, and when they put it into retail for consumers to go ahead and buy, basically the UCI said, hey, you can't have any kind of attachment to go ahead external on the bike to make it more aerodynamic than what it is. So that's why you're going to see these little bolt holes right here, so you're able to remove these. But if you're not competing in any kind of race day events and you're just riding in group rides with your friends, these little fenders here, these little kind of wings right here, are going to make the bike more aerodynamic and help the airflow go through the top of the front of the tube and then spew out through the sides to make the bike more aerodynamic. But again, they released this bike and then they had this mishap where UCI said, hey, those are illegal to ride with, so you'll see a lot of pro riders just going ahead and removing those, which they have those little bolts right there. Not a big deal. But you can see, this bike looks very different from every other bike. It does not look like a normal $14,000 drop seat stay kind of bike, which I do encourage. I do like that Bianchi went outside of the box. The top tube is not just a straight top tube. It has this kind of shape to it and then bounces up and looks really clean. The handlebar looks very much like an S5 inspired handlebar. Yes, it is much more of an aggressive rise, but again, I applaud them for trying something different. You can only make a bike look so much different than a bicycle, and I do like the design of this handlebar. Do I think it looks good with the spacers? Not the best, but I do like the look of these handlebars when they are flush on there. They do have this little hole right here, which I've done in the other video. And that is where you can go ahead and put a little plug in here, just in case you like it for pleasure. No, but you have a little plug here to go ahead and have a Garmin mount to go ahead and go out front on there. They have these little kind of dimples on here to go ahead and help with airflow as well. But these carbon bars are meant for aerodynamics, unity with the bike, and make this whole system work really well. And then also you can see here the rear wheel, the rear stay on here. It's not traditional, just straight drop down to here and then down. We have some extra carbon here. That carbon wheel is tucked really close to that wheel. This is a 28C wheel. I believe this can take up to a 30C wheel. But yeah, it makes it look very, very clean. The color on this bike is classic Bianchi colors. You have this kind of gray with this brushed silver look to it, and then obviously their celeste or teal color. It looks phenomenal. So before I get rained on, I'm gonna go over this bike real quick, and yeah, we'll get into everything. So starting off with the cockpit, like I mentioned before, this is the Bianchi's own RC cockpit. One-piece bar and stem. The cables are ran from here down here into the brake systems right there. The spaces are breakaway spaces, so you can go ahead and lower as you please. But the bad thing about this bike is if you do want to change out your stem length or handlebar width, you're going to have to pay extra for that and swap it out. Now, if you're paying a bike around $13,900, I'm sure you have the money to spend on like a $600, $700, $1,000 bar to swap out. But that is a bad thing about these designs. But the good thing about these designs is that they do make them very, very stiff. A one-piece full carbon fiber bar and stem, there's going to be no real fall off for power. This bar is going to be very stiff, so when you are sprinting on the bike, you're going to have better control. You're going to have better leverage to kind of get the edge over that. The look of it is different, but I do applaud it like I said before. With the bar tape, it is their own Celeste black and tape that they have by Bianchi. And then for the group set on this bike, they do offer it with Shimano Dura-Ace 12-speed, 12 gears in the rear, 2 in the front, and this is their top-tier group set that Shimano does make. You can also get this exact same bike in a campy version because it's Italian, and also a SRAM version as well. Going down to the head tube right here, we do have, like I said, this very sharp angled flare right here, and then you have these little fenders right here, like I mentioned before, that some people like, some people don't. Again, I do applaud it. I think that we should do what we can to these bikes to make them look different. I mean, everyone says all these bikes look the same nowadays. Why make fun of and why throw stones at people for trying something new? On the down tube right here, we can see a little hump to go ahead and make that front tire a little bit more aero. And then going down to these wheels right here, these are again made by Bianchi. These are their Reparto course. These are the top line wheels they make. For this wheel set, it comes with a 50mm front wheel and a 65mm rear wheel to go ahead and add aerodynamics to it. They obviously put the 50mm in the front for better handling. They don't want so much deep dish in there. And then for the rim width internal, it's a 21mm rim width internal on here as well. They come with a bladed spoke. It's their own in-house hub as well, which I believe just have normal bearings inside of there. And then the wheels are a tubeless ready system, but they are still hooked, which I do applaud and I do like. The tires are here going to be a Pirelli P0 TLR Race SL, the Superlights, and they are a 700 by 28C. They do have tubes in there right now, but you can go ahead and change it up if you like later on down the road. The finish on the Bianchis, and again, I don't sell Bianchi. I have no skin in the game with Bianchi. The one thing that I've always heard and even felt myself is that their carbon fiber and their frames have always been top tier quality in terms of stiffness. I would say it's about the Italian stuff, the Bianchi, the Bora wheels as well, these wheels I'm sure as well. The frame stiffness on these things, when you put in power, they don't feel flexy at all. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing too if you want more comfort, but if you want an absolute stiff bike that's going to respond when you put down power, the Bianchis are a very, very nice bike. Again, I don't own one. I never owned one. I only got to ride them. I got to work on them, but they are absolute stiff bike, and I only hear feedback from people who actually ride them. Front fork, we have a front Shimano disc brake rotor in here, Dura-Ace, with a 160mm Shimano XTR brake on here. And then going down to the bottom bracket, we can see right here, oh, that's Miami for you. For that bottom bracket right there, it is going to be a BB86 press fit bottom bracket, and it is a ceramic speed upgrade, like I said, the customer did, but this does not usually come with ceramic bottom brackets in there. We do have a nice stamp for the UCI on there, which is nice, and then it comes with the Reparto course on the side, and then on the other side it does have the Bianchi, similar to like the Pinarello Dogma, where it says Pinarello on one side and Dogma on this side. I do like this. I see a lot of Italian companies following the same trend. And then on this bike, the cool thing is you do get a Dura-Ace dual-sided power meter. I would assume so for $13,900 on there. We do have these little kind of teal Celeste bottle cage bolts on here, made by Carbon Tie. That's very cool with the Bianchi logo. Small things like that are very nice, and you can even see the carbon weave inside the frame right there, if I can get a good image of it. Exposed carbon showing the rawness of it, which is really cool. On the top tube here, you have their Bianchi logo right here. And also, I'm sure it says designed in Italian and Bianchi. Going down to the seat post right here, this is their own proprietary carbon fiber Bianchi RC seat post. We have the bolt right here, which is going to control the seat wedge on here. Talk about the seat in a second because it looks really cool. For the crankset on here, it's a Dura-Ace crankset 5236 chainring with their own Dura-Ace Shimano power meter crankset on there. It does come equipped with a Dura-Ace front derailleur and also a Dura-Ace XTR chain. For the cassette in the rear, it's going to be a Dura-Ace 1130 cassette, a 12-speed cassette with a Dura-Ace rear derailleur. Comes equipped with a ceramic speed OSPW that the customer added on. But you can see this nice little flare out on here. You have the Reparto course right there logo, some more exposed carbon on the seat tube right there, and these nice bits of Celeste that I do like. Again, I mentioned, I think the max tire width you can go on here is a 30. That's a 28. You might be able to do a 32, but why would you? And then even here, you can see the attention to detail, the amount of tuck, the amount of bike they want to keep air on this thing. It goes a long way. I do like it a lot. And then going to the back over here, we do have the Bianchi logo right here. The through axle system set up. It's a Shimano rear rotor, 160mm rotor for the rear with a Shimano disc brake caliper in the rear. And then this wheel, like I mentioned, is staggered. This is a 65mm depth wheel, whereas the front wheels are 50. This is a 65. I do like the look of that. I think it looks very mean and aggressive. and these are their top tier wheels that they just developed to work with this bike the best. 21mm internal width as well, bladed spokes, and then a very stiff carbon. They say that this is the same exact carbon that is used on here, and they say that these wheels are paired best for this bike. And you're gonna notice this a lot coming up in the future. A lot of these companies are gonna pair their own bikes with their own wheels and say that their aero numbers are produced with their wheels, and they say that their bike works best with their wheels. All this stuff like that. Same tire as the front as the rear. It is a Pirelli P0 Race SL, and that is set up tubes. Now, for the really cool thing that I thought was one of the most coolest things about this bike, besides the handlebar and the look of it, this saddle. I absolutely adore this saddle. I think it looks amazing. I think it looks very fast, very racy. The only two saddles I know that did 3D printed were Physique and Specialized. And then there's obviously Bjorn and other kind of small companies out there, like I know that they do that. But I didn't know another company, like a big main manufacturer like this, that did this. This is their own Rapardo course, full-on carbon fiber body, carbon fiber rail saddle, nice 3D printed technology. I think this saddle looks badass. I would put this saddle on my bike. I absolutely love the look of that. The 3D printed saddles, to me, I'll be honest with you, the Physique and also the Specialized, they are very comfortable, but they look almost cushiony. They throw off the look of the bike. They throw off the aesthetics of the bike because it's almost a different color. This, with this kind of jet black, like this leather look to it, like a leather look to it, it looks absolutely sick. The curvature to it, it looks fast. It looks like it matches the bike very well. That does come standard on this bike as well, so I'm sure the customer will be super happy. But man, that thing looks badass. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. It's about to pour over here. I want to get this video out beforehand. Thank you. Big shout out again to Miguel for showing me this bike. I believe this is the only one in the country right now, but he does say he has more coming in, so if you guys are interested in looking for him, go ahead and find out. I will have a free buy contest on this 65mm depth wheel here in a second. Let me get you guys a close-up of these hubs. SPB baby. Yeah, that's about it. But anyways, guys, I find these bikes really cool. They look really gimmicky online, but this is my second one that I've seen in person. And if I was spending 14 grand on a bike, I would want a bike that looked unique. I would want a bike that looks different. I'm tired of seeing these just standard carbon fiber open molds with the drop down seat stays on there. This thing looks cool. This thing looks like it was handcrafted, and it looks like a badass bike. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Here goes a free buy contest on the 65mm depth wheel. Here we go. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you guys next one.